welcome to Nerd Street. I'm Nick, aka Nintendo,
And I'm Brent.
and we're here to talk about everything nerd, everything in pop culture that we love to critique, talk shit about, and love. We're going to talk today about our top 5 Marvel films and our bottom one, the one that we dislike the most. I think it's going to be fun. I can't wait to hear Brent's ridiculous list. I can't wait to hear how cool mine is. And let's say the best for last. Why don't you go first, Brent?
Really quick, there are going to be spoilers because we're talking about various MCU movies here and Marvel movies that might not be official MCU, but you're going to hear about Infinity War, things like that. So if you're worried about spoilers, you may want to turn that off. Just wanted to let you know about that. So, yeah. All right. Well, yeah, and we chose top 5 and bottom 1 because if we just ranked them all, we'd be here all day because there's been like 700,000 of them and such. So, now we should touch on briefly because when we decided to do this episode and we went off and did our own respective lists, we interpreted it differently.
We did.
So
we did.
I interpreted it as just from the MCU canon. So starting with, well, I guess technically the Incredible Hulk is part of the MCU, whatever, but pretty much, you know, the Marvel MCU movies, so you've got the Iron Man, Avengers, all that kind of stuff. Whereas you translated, or you interpreted it differently.
I did. We're not going to get into my list right away, but I did throw Blade 1 into my list, and we'll get there.
So you interpreted it as any movie based on a Marvel comic. So, from my opinion, for the worst MCU movie, and there's really no bad MCU movies, but this was the one I liked least, was Captain America: The First Avenger. I just found it kind of boring, and doesn't stack up well against the other very epic MCU movies. And so, although it was still a fine movie in its own right, I didn't feel that it was. I thought of all the MCU movies, it was at the bottom.
Okay, I'm going to take the hot potato on this first one you picked. I think you're right. I think it was boring because it had to be. It was necessary. A lot of dialogue and a lot of paving the way for what was to come. And also, it's great to go back and look at the first Avenger to see how far they've come now. It's great to see a product get better and better and better once it's conscious of its own power. So when they realized they had something and people were going to the movies and they couldn't get enough, they upped their game, they got better, they smoothed out because they listened to the fans, which was so important. Something I think Lucasfilm and Disney definitely need to learn. But yeah, I could agree with you. I don't think it's the worst, but I know and agree with everything you're saying about the first Captain America. All right, for me, worst one has to be any Fantastic Four you pick. You pick. To have a villain under your belt as a production studio like Fox, to have the rights to Dr. Frickin' Doom and not doing anything with it is a freaking blasphemy, dude. Dr. Doom is on the level of like, almost Thanos level, definitely on the level of like Sinister. Who did they put in the X-Men with Psylocke? Who is what's his name? He's a badass. That Oscar Isaac played Apocalypse. Okay, he's on the level of Apocalypse. Easily. Dr. Doom is that huge and that badass. Missed opportunity. The fact that you messed up that villain just says a lot. We didn't even give a shit about who played the Fantastic Four. I don't care about a guy that can stretch his arms. In this day and age, it doesn't work that well. But Dr. Doom fucking had it. You had it.
In my opinion, Dr. Doom is the Marvel equivalent of Darth Vader.
Yes, dude, I got it. That's so true.
And so,
That's
yeah,
so
they just,
true,
you
man.
know, and yeah,
he has a lot to him.
All of the Fantastic Four movie. You know, it's funny. I heard this and I agree. The best Fantastic Four movie that has ever been made was actually The Incredibles.
Ah, good call. I never looked at it like that. Good
It's
call,
pretty much the same powers, but The Incredibles was actually
much
entertaining.
better. Way more entertaining. All right, Brent. I want to hear your number 2.
Okay.
No,
that was about number 5. I know you're gonna flip on this one, all right? But my number 5, which is still, you know, considering there's 20-something Marvel movies or whatever, 5 is still up in the top 25%. But my number 5 is Avengers: Infinity War.
Number 5,
Yes.
dude. Avengers: Infinity War is the best thing ever.
Here's-
number 5.
Here's why I put it that way. I mean, it's a great movie, lots of action, everything like that, but it's not a movie in its own right. It's a chapter. If you had never seen any other Avengers movies, you would have been totally lost going into Infinity War. You would have been like, who's this purple dude? Why are half of the Avengers wanted, to be, does the government want to arrest half of the Avengers? Who's this guy without an arm? Why are these African people giving him an arm? It just, there was so many characters, and if you went into this with no context, you would have been totally lost. And so, don't get me wrong, I loved Infinity War.
Okay.
But as a movie,
standalone.
It would have failed.
Okay. My number 5, and you guys are probably going to trip off this too. I'm going to say Deadpool 2. Still on the top 5 Marvel films for me. It's number 5 only because the 4 that I picked above it, I have an ache into the actors, and I'm just glad they're in the MCU, and I think they do fine jobs. I think Deadpool 2, with its R rating, its slapstick, dick and fart jokes, toilet humor, bumps it down to number 5 because I find out this is gonna sound really lame and boring, but as I'm getting older, man, that shit's starting to take a backseat. You know what I mean? I don't know why, but that stuff I laugh at second, but I want serious shit first. I know Deadpool isn't for you if it's isn't for me, someone like me that just wants that all the time. But at the same time, Deadpool 2 is also a good break from me getting too serious and dark in the things I like. So definitely top 5, but 5th place.
All right, my number 4 was Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one.
First one was fun, man.
Yeah.
Gamora was the shit.
And, there was great... I mean, before that movie came out, most, even comic book fans... I was a Marvel comic book fan as a kid, and even I knew very little about the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Same here.
They were a really underrated and not very well-known hero group.
Yeah.
And the acting was great. Chris Pratt was great. Dave Bautista is fantastic as Drax.
Man, one day we need to chat about Bautista's career.
Sure.
It has made a freaking turn, but we'll get into that.
We can certainly make a
He's an
video
interesting
about that,
dude,
yeah.
Man. Yeah.
But these characters, they came to life. They got quality actors. The makeup and effects, everything was great about it.
Yeah.
I think that they are kind of like Thor is in that they're the more humorous side of the Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
The whole dance off and things like that.
Oh man, that's awesome.
So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's why it's got the number 4 spot on my list.
Okay, number 4 for me. I have to go with Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. I think the artistic direction shined right away. I couldn't believe what I was seeing in that first fight scene with Caecilius and I forgot her name, that monk-looking lady.
Oh, the ageless one.
Yeah, something like that. She was cool. I have to go back and check that out. I love the story. Benedict Cumberbatch stole the show. He kept every scene flowing. I loved seeing how different the powers could be used with special effects coming from a character like that. Definitely one of my favorites because it was the most pleasant surprise and it worked, and we got Benedict in the MCU now. Thank you.
I don't know if you knew this, but Cumberbatch was their number 2 choice to
Who
play
was their
Doctor
number 1?
Strange. Number 1 was Joaquin Phoenix. And he actually got cast and ended up backing out. Cumberbatch, I think, is a bigger star, a more talented actor,
Yeah, he is,
and
both of those.
he has that longevity. I thought he was born to play Doctor Strange.
Moving on, number 3, hit us, man.
Number 3 was Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Ooh, good choice. Badass movie.
Yeah, Winter Soldier was a breath of fresh air after I was disappointed after, from First Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
Winter Soldier had so much action. There was a lot of character development. I heart Black Widow, and she's so
Yeah,
involved
and
in that.
she's very involved in that. Yep, you're
And,
right. I want to
Nick
get involved
Fury.
with her.
Right. Nick Fury is amazing, and I just thought there was there was so much
Nick
action.
Fury was amazing. I gotta go back to that because in my head when you started talking, I was thinking, you know what? That was my favorite movie with Nick Fury.
I remember seeing in the trailer and we know sometimes they give too much up in the trailer, but the scene in the elevator where Captain America is on the elevator and some people get on, then some other people get on, and he's kind of looking around, and then he finally says, "Does anyone want to get off? Or should we get this started?"
Yeah.
And then just,
Yeah.
you know, a huge
That
epic
was
fight scene with
awesome.
8 people in an elevator.
In an elevator, man.
Yeah.
You know that that was a tough thing to shoot because everyone was probably bruised and hurt, and if it was more than one take, those actors were probably like, "Shit, man, time to get punched by Chris Evans again." Here we go.
Well, also keep in mind in that elevator you've got to have cameras and stuff
Oh,
like
God,
that.
so the camera, they probably got contraptions hanging so none of the directors get popped in the mouth.
Right. You know, so so I love that movie, and that's why it's on my number 3.
Yeah.
So what was your number 3?
Number 3, guys, you ready for this? Blade 1. Wesley Snipes, vampire, Blade. Frost is the bad guy, played by Stephen Dorff. He was awesome for his day. He was a hilarious villain without trying. He was pretty malicious. Wesley Snipes was in his prime back then, so the fights were great. The darkness was cool. It wasn't too cheesy because you knew you were already in a vampire comic book movie. And let's not forget, right when that movie started, a freaking bloodbath in the club with vampires, dude. That scene inspired so many rock videos, so many other films, so much. Super iconic, and just a great overall movie.
Number 2.
Number 2.
All right. Well, number 3 was
Blade for me.
Yeah, right. Well, my number 3 was Winter Soldier. Number 2 is Civil War.
That's my number 2.
Civil War. All right.
Yeah, dude.
You know, it was basically an Avengers movie in disguise.
It was, but I don't want to take away from it being a Captain America movie
absolutely.
at the same time.
Because the whole purpose behind it was Captain America, you know, the Sokovia Accords, and you know, his relationship with Bucky and his loyalty to Bucky. That's what kind of caused this big split. With it being a epic movie with a lot of stars and a lot of heroes in it, there was still plenty of character development. And especially the interaction, not only between Captain and Bucky, but Cap and Iron Man.
Cap and Iron Man, what that fight though.
Yeah.
It was so good. There was so many epic, like, you know, in a comic book when there's this 2-page spread, you'll open it and it's just one picture over both pages. There was so many shots that reminded me of that in Civil War when they were fighting.
And
like
that scene,
blocking lasers, pan the camera out, like, oh my god, it was so cool.
and that scene where Cap and Bucky are on either side of Iron Man, and they're punching and then pass the shield over and whatever, and just double teaming whatever. The only thing that I don't like about that movie is I felt that Zemo could have been done better. Well, Zemo's an iconic Captain America villain, but he's more flashy in the comic books and whatever. He had that like purple hood and stuff like that. So I thought they could have done a better job with Zemo.
Yeah, they
but
could have.
That being said, Zemo wasn't actually the villain in this movie. I mean, he was a villain but the main conflict in this movie wasn't the Avengers versus Zemo, it was the Avengers versus the Avengers.
Yeah, yep. And that was the showcase, you know, Civil War.
And so, you know, and bringing Ant-Man in and Spider-Man, the fight scene at the airport was just epic.
Oh my god, you get to see Ant-Man tap into a power that I didn't even know they were going to bust out this soon.
Yeah.
I loved Captain America in Captain America Civil War. His action scenes were completely elevated him to another level in the previous Captain Americas. In the comic books, see, this is how you know the MCU, the films are amazing, because I would have never bought a Captain America comic. Now, well, dude, you give me a Captain America comic, I'm giving you top dollar for it. Give it to me.
Right.
I want it. Yeah. He's great, and I never used to like him. Doctor Strange, I didn't give a shit. But now, top 3 Marvel, you know, one of my favorite Avengers, easy. All right, man, should we hit number 1?
Number 1.
Ba-da-dum-ba-da. Numero uno.
All right, my number 1 MCU movie is Avengers.
Avengers, the original?
The
First
first one,
Wow.
right.
Good
I
pick.
thought, you know, it's kind of set up the entire MCU. It brought the team together. There was character development. I think Loki is the most likable villain in the entire MCU.
You're so right. He's so likable. Oh my gosh, he does such a good job. Tom
Yeah.
Hiddleston.
There was epic battles. There was humor. There was it brought the team together and really set the stage for the rest of the MCU, and so that's why
It did
First
set the
Avengers
stage, man.
is
Yep.
the top of the list for me at this point.
Should we move on to my number one?
Yeah.
All right, man. Infinity War, of course. Infinity War right hooked me. I didn't know that the Marvel Cinematic Universe could get this serious, get this dark, and sacrifice such big things in order to move a story. Also, Thanos was the greatest thing I think to come out of the Marvel Universe yet. He had conviction. No one thought he loved anything. In the comics, he was supposed to love Lady Death, and that was his inspiration to do everything he's doing in this movie. But they canned that bullshit, and they made it his own daughter. His own daughter didn't think that he loved her. And when he showed tears because he knew he had to kill the only thing he loved, which was his own daughter, I was just like, what? They're going to go there? They're really going to do this? It's not going to be some cheesy love thing from another Marvel character that we're just going to introduce 5 minutes ago in the series. They didn't do that, and they went deep. They went hard. Sounds like a porno. No, they had all their ducks in a row, and they delivered the best villain I've seen since Darth Vader. And this is the best sci-fi movie I've ever seen after Empire Strikes Back. And that, in my world, that's big fucking words to say. And I stand by that shit. Thanos, you did it, man. Good job. Kevin Feige, what the hell? You gave me my favorite movie you guys ever did. Number 1, Infinity War. You did great. And I cannot wait for the future.
So that's our list of top 5 and bottom 1 Marvel / MCU movies.
Sorry, Fantastic Four. You're at the bottom.
They should be apologizing to us.
I know, man. Miles Teller should be apologizing for that hitting his career.
Right. So thanks for watching. If there's any of those movies that you haven't seen, go out and rent them or Netflix and chill and whatever.
Support them.
And thanks for supporting us by continuing to watch us with your eyeballs. Leave your comments below. Hit that like button. Hit subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Tell your frenemies.
Tell your enemies. Tell your frenemies.
Yeah. And stay tuned for more content. Thanks for watching. We are Nerd Street.
Nerd Street.
X-Force.
Sick.